So you want to be an SPD. Welcome back to SPD911. I'm your host, Dr. Jake Taylor Jacobs, and today we're going to be talking about some of the blind spots of being an SPD technician and some of the things to kind of look forward to. And I'm just letting you know, we're excited to be back for another season of Sterile by Design. Let's get to it. SPD 911 isn't just a show, it's your emergency response team for sterile processing. Having a diverse organization, people make the mistake in trying to make everyone the same.
SPD 911, we stand
Yeah, you're asking for a pay raise every year.
Heard the stories, seen the tears, raw and real, we face the fight, supporting each other, night and daylight.
Night and daylight. I said Sterile by Design. I'm in SPD.
I heard you.
What's going on, SGG? How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. It's a good day. It's cold. And we're looking for some snowflakes, which is going to really put a monkey wrench into this area, but some snowflakes, a little ice on the weekend. But I'm doing wonderful. I am, let's see, 2 months post-surgery, doing much better.
And we already putting you on the road, huh? We already putting you away.
Yeah, day by day. But yes, excited to be back.
Good. So outside of the surgery, you got to catch us up, girlfriend. You've been traveling out the country, speaking in Hong Kong. Let us know kind of internationally. Matter of fact, no, we're going to wait because we have a new segment that we're introducing to the show for everyone watching. You're going to have a golden moment where SGG is going to let you know globally kind of the things that are changing, the things to look for your sterile process department. But if you're new to sterile SPD 911, I just want to let you know this is definitely a treat. This is your emergency response team to all things dealing with sterile processing within hospitals all over the country in ASCs. We have the privilege to be a co-host with Sharon Green Golden, the great, our director of compliance. We're super excited to have another season for her to be here on the team, and we're happy that she can get back on the road. Okay,
yes.
Because SGG is speaking. You are speaking in Arizona, Tempe, Arizona. And what is your topic?
My topic is, well, I have a mantra. It's called the view from my window.
Okay.
So my topic is the view you don't see. Compliance and functionality in SPD.
And just let's just get just a little taste, just let's give it a taste because everybody won't be able to participate. And when you talk about this regulatory compliance, SPD function and compliance, what are you implying? Is there are people compliant but not SPD functional? Are they SPD functional and not compliant? Like, give us a little bit. Just give us a little something.
Okay, so you have some departments that they're compliant to the book. Their books are in order. When you talk to the frontline people, they're speaking the right words. They have the right sentences. But when you actually watch the actual processes, they're off. And so when it comes to patient safety, compliance and functionality go hand in hand. I not only have to be compliant, following best practice standards, but I also need to be functioning. And the way that an SPD should function is to be survey ready every day. You don't get ready for a survey, you stay ready. And there's a big difference in staying ready and getting ready. We used to say as a child, Mama said, "What you doing?" "I'm getting ready to go to bed." Well, how do you get ready to go to bed? Just get into bed. What is it you got to do to get ready to get into bed? And so it's the same thing. If you stay ready, if we are following standards, IFUs, staying abreast of what's new, what has changed in the field, then we're always ready. And it doesn't matter. We don't care when the surveyor comes. He come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, any day he gets ready. They get ready. They can just show up at 8 o'clock. Yeah. We're not running around trying to get the, as lean on me, get the chains off the door. They coming. It's too late. They're here. Just be ready. So I think that sometimes our frontline C-suite does not understand that because my books are good and my partner, my infection control provincialist, has said, oh, their papers are good, their books are good. When I go down there, everybody got on a jacket. Does not mean that we are actually doing what we're supposed to do every day. And that's for right. Patient safety, we have to function correctly every day. So this is what you don't see. Because of course, when they say Sharon, the CEO, is on his way to SPD, what he will see is my best side. Unless something's wrong with me mentally, I'm not going to show him the bad side. I'm not even going to let him in decon. I'm going to keep him right here in this corner.
That's right.
All I want you to see is this. But if I stay ready, he can say, take me to decon. And I can say, you can go to decon, sir, but you're going to have to put on PPE. But by all means, come on. It's not like we keep moving the box. The closer he gets to decon, we take the box out of decon. We actually bring it over to the clean side where it shouldn't be, because we shouldn't have had it in the first place. So I just thought that would be interesting to share.
Yeah.
What the view you don't see, which is the view that most people keep away from you. The view that you don't see. I show you what I want you to see.
That's right.
When you're actually out here, which is surveyors are doing, they're looking for the view that you don't want me to see.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to SGG. When we talk about our concept, operational blindness, just even when it comes to metrics, right? Yes. You can have great touch time and great turnaround time. However, that doesn't mean it has anything to do with your quality. Right. That instrumentations are missing. So I can report turnaround time is great, touch time is great, overtime is low. But if the quality downstream of who's actually tending to that patient, if they're not getting what they need, then it's kind of like these numbers. Yes, it shows that you're doing great. But when we actually look at how it performs when we actually need the output, it's not matching what we need as far as the outcome. Right. So I think I like that you're talking about that from a compliance standpoint, stating like, hey, listen, you can show compliance, you can beat Joint Commission every day. You can beat, any CMS regulator every day.
Right.
You know where to take them. You know how to hide people from them. You know how to tell people to get off one day, but it doesn't mean that you're functioning well inside of your SPD.
That's true, because I can, when you think about operational blindness, everything looks good. Like you say, my numbers are good. We haven't had any recalls. We haven't had any, the SSIs have not been traced back to sterile processing, but we can't get indicators in a tray to save our life. And every day we spend money in the department reprocessing trays because someone forgot the indicator and that tray had to be redone. So you have to know that we have to have the compliance part with the functionality, and we cannot operate blind. You cannot work with blinders on.
That's good.
Going along. You can't just let me tell you anything. You must come and check it out.
So speaking of that, I'm just going to jump right into the question. The first question is, why does SPD feel so different from hospital to hospital? With standards all seeming to be the same, everybody seems like they're having the same problems. Everyone seems like they're dealing with the same issues. From your view, from being in the field, from working every day, what have you seen? Talking to different leaders, what have you seen, and why is it so different?
Well, I want to say, first of all, that feelings are emotions, and you don't come to work with the emotions, how you feel. I feel like this SPD is different from the SPD down the street. feelings require a certain amount of physical sensation. And of course, I looked it up. Touch, you can feel pain. It's an expression. I feel like SPDs are different. You can't feel it until you've actually experienced it. And so we're starting off this year's session with, so you want to be an SPD. And you heard that the SPD is a good place to work. They don't get laid off. It's stable. The pay isn't maybe where you want it, but it's decent. And because it's stable, you can take care of a family pretty much. But you cannot come in and say, I feel like there is a difference between, for instance, my evening and my day shift, because there is a difference. The functionality of each shift is different. And so you have to actually experience, with some time put behind it, what is going on the day shift versus what goes on the evening shift versus what happens on the night shift, the true off shift. At the end of the day, it's about us maintaining processes and producing a product to take care of our patients. I think that a lot of things people say, Dr. Jake, about the feelings and what goes on in SPD are what isn't even admissible in court because it's hearsay. You haven't actually been in there to experience what is going on in the SPD. Is it really different? Did you actually spend time at the hospital down the street? Because what I have found in my years, and I have worked at several different hospitals, is that if you get in there and you spend time and you really peruse the area, SPDs are the same. They're either working to do it right, they're doing it right, or they're making it up as they go. That's your SPDs. And so but I can't tell that from just coming in the door saying, good morning, how you all doing? I'm here to work. I have to actually get into the trenches and see what is it that we're actually doing. And I do that without a feeling. I do that objectively. I don't have a good feeling or a bad feeling. I have an objective feeling of what should be done, how it should be done, what the best practice standard says, what your policy says you're doing. And then I see if all of those are working together to produce a product, which our job is to produce instruments and or trays for patient use that will not harm our patient. And so I will also reiterate that we are always usually small departments. No matter how many people you have, by the time you get them together, it's a smaller department that has a tendency to have a certain amount of confusion in it. And so I think what people have when they say they're ready, they're feeling things, is they're feeling some of the confusion or some of the disconnect that may be within the department. There may be a disconnect between the day shift and the evening shift because we're human beings, and the human factor plays a big part. And so the human factor, the human beings that come in from 2:45 all the way up to 11:30 or whatever, they come in with a preconceived notion of what work should be waiting on them. And they have that idea from what they knew was scheduled the day before, usually. And so if they come in, and I really thought this should be an easy day for me, and I come in and there seems to be a lot of work, I come in already asking questions about what did you all do all day? Where my day shift actually sits and works with the OR all day long. We're running, jumping, hopping, skipping, changing cases, rotating rooms, changing trays because they didn't have indicators. All of the C-suite is in the hospital during the day. Everybody's there. It's a different atmosphere. So you cannot feel that there's a difference between days and evenings. What you experience is true because on evenings, there's very few chiefs. And they have a tendency to be a little lax.
Mhm.
On day shift, I got the doctor yelling, the CEO is running, the vice president, the COO is coming down to ask me some questions. Everything is going on. So we have to understand that and take away the word of, I feel that they're different. No, they're the same. It's just how well do I incorporate compliance and functionality within my processes to make it seem as if my hospital works smooth and yours doesn't.
And honestly, and we're actually installing our Sterile by Design system into 4 facilities this first quarter. And one of the biggest things that we're seeing, and I know you can actually talk to this too, SGG, is that yes, SPDs functionally are the same, but is it ran the same? That's the
Right.
difference. Are people operating on the same operational framework and systems and structure? That's the difference. What
Mhm.
one hospital sees as a priority, another hospital sees as an option, and it's determining or trying to figure out, is this really a standard? So if I'm coming and I'm new into the space of sterile processing, and I'm learning from Sharon Green Golden, and she's by the book, everything's right. Then I go to another facility, and they're by the book about something else. It can seem as though there's 2 different systems being ran or 2 different things. The processes just may be different.
Mhm.
The area just may be different, or it can just be the difference between a well-run sterile processing department and a poorly ran sterile processing department. Because honestly, you shouldn't feel a difference from any facility to any facility. Fixing a Toyota Camry 96 should be the same at every
Yes.
garage
Yes.
on planet Earth. It
Yes.
shouldn't be any different. You're right. And so those are the things that we really have to just make sure that we're paying attention to, that we're not making it an industry thing. You're understanding the difference between well run versus poorly run. And to SGG's point, what what skill sets are you going to gain to add value to the place that you may be considering poorly ran? But if you're newer to the space, how are you able to even determine what's
Right.
something well done or what's not done? So getting the experience definitely will help out.
Right. You cannot, when you're newly into something, make a determination that this isn't being run right or this is the best place since sliced bread. You just got here and you don't know. You just know where your locker is
Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
workstation. You don't even know what you're doing technically at at your workstation. But it has to do with what we've started getting within the field in these last years. Education, knowledge is power. And what we didn't always have in the field of sterilization processes was education. We didn't have educators. They had educators in the OR, educators in the PACU, educators on the nursing floor, and SPD just learn it if you can, you know. And that was part of the problem, that a lot of times, and I'm being transparent, the people educating didn't know. I
Mm,
don't know how to put oil in the car,
mm,
but I do know you open the hood, that there is a screw somewhere at the top or the bottom, that you unscrew the one at the bottom, you can drain the oil out, and then there's one at the top that you can put the oil in. But you really don't want me doing your oil change, because I have no real clue as to the real process of doing an oil change. How long do you let it drain once you let it drain out of the bottom? How do I determine what type of oil is going into a 96 car versus a 2020, 2025 car? So we weren't taught that. We were taught some basics. You're here to clean some instruments. That was the basic number one. And we didn't even really teach according to, because this is transparency, IFUs. People went in cleaning, and that's why they say like they were washing some dishes. And to wash your dishes, you just need a basin, some Dawn dish detergent, a little sponge, a rag. You wash it off, you rinse it, put it up there, and you dry it. That's not what we're doing. We've got to truly inspect. We've got to know, does this soak for 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Do I need to put it in a certain kind of solution? Should it be neutral? What enzymatic? There are a lot of things a lot of components to what we do that you cannot just learn with the rag and the brush in your hand.
That's right. That's right.
But
That's right.
a lot of hospitals, that's what we've taught. Just wash it off. If it look good to you, it'll look good to me.
And unfortunately, you have this chasm of two generations colliding. And what we're seeing right now is a new generation that is coming into a new world of SPD, and an older generation that's coming out of the old world of SPD. And those isms are still there when new standards are being created. So it's like literally two total different worlds colliding, creating this space, which could seem confusing. But as SGG says, as you know, my grandfather used to say, as facts change, so do I.
Right.
When we get more information about a better way of doing something, we should be adjusting ourselves to be able to fit that. And this episode is opening up to the people that are newer to SPD or interested in SPD, and some of these scenarios and questions are coming up that they're just observing, and they're asking SPD 911 and SGG. So scenario 2, you walk into a department, someone walked into a department where everyone's just always busy, trades are everywhere, phones is ringing, but nobody can explain what caught up actually means. So it just feels like everyone's just running around in circles. So the question I have, or this person has for you, SGG, and to the panel, us, how do we know if the department is actually organized and actually getting by, or organized and accomplishing milestones or goals, or just getting by?
Well, I think first you have to talk about caught up. And caught up means to be fully informed and current. So I walk into the department, let's just take 3 to 11, and everybody's jumping and hopping because the number one, they're getting ready to get off. People get real busy when it's time to go home. They're real active because they know they only got an hour, 30 minutes. Caught up requires a certain amount of communication. What am I being caught up about? Because you see trays on the shelf doesn't mean that my shift isn't caught up. It doesn't mean we haven't done what we needed to do. It means that work is being done, and this is going to be your job. This is going to be your goal for the evening, to make sure that you reach the level of informed information as to what caught up is going to be for you at say 11:15 when the next shift comes on. Are we really behind? Well, you wouldn't know if we're behind if we don't communicate. That's why huddles are important. You have to put standards and processes in place, Dr. Jake. Phones ringing. Well, phones ring, but my rule always was it shouldn't ring more than 3 times before somebody picks it up and says, hello, SPD Green Golden, how may I help you? We shouldn't be so busy that it's just ringing and we all running around doing something, unless there was an incident that happened and we have a patient on the table dying and we're tending to something that we had no control over. Then I'm not answering the phone right now because I'm busy. But phones ringing, you have to put a process in place and say, I literally had to do this, Dr. Jake. I had to say, today, Dr. Jake, you are the telephone operator. Okay, when the phone rings at ring number 3, you on it. Everybody else is going to keep moving. Now, on ring number 4, and this was just me, and I'm old school, you all know me. On ring number 4, I was on my way. And what you didn't want was for it to be answered by Green Golden. Okay, because I'm going to answer it. I'm going to tackle whatever it is. When we finish whatever it is, that it's usually my OR or clinic or department that needs help. Now I've got to bring everybody in, and you've got to help me understand why you couldn't do your assignment today, which one of them was to be the telephone operator. I understand that you had a tray in front of you that you're putting together. But I actually bought the foam pieces you could put over your head, Dr. Jake, so that you
so you did.
Green Golden, how may I help you?
That's actually pretty clever.
You know, so now you don't have to go to the phone. The phone is attached to your head.
That's right.
I never understood. But we are busy. And sometimes people moving around, Dr. Jake, doesn't mean they're actually working. you know, it's kind of like when you got the plate and your parents put broccoli on it and you
Yeah,
didn't
I was
like
just about to.
broccoli. You just
Uh-huh.
moved it from one side to the other, and
Mhm.
somehow you hoped it would decrease without you eating it. But when your parents really looked at the plate, you still had those 6 pieces of broccoli on your plate that you started with.
Mhm.
And so that requires the person that's in charge. That's why supervising, team leading is so important, to know what's going on, to be fully informed. Jake, you had that ABD tray, you've had it on your station, sir, for 25 minutes. It's a 15-minute setup. What
Yeah.
are you doing?
You
What
doing?
do you need? What is your problem? What can I help you with? Because you're holding us up. Because if you had that tray over on the other station 15 minutes ago, you would be on a new tray.
That's right.
But
That's right.
you have to know what's going on, and you have to know your staff. Good managers in SPD know their people like parents know their children.
That's right.
You know which child really takes a bath and which one doesn't. And so you know when the water's running on little Jake, he's just standing in the corner running the water. And he will be dry as a bone when he comes out. You know that. So you turn him back in and you go help him get his bath. You know that Sharon has been in the water for real for all 25 minutes. She in there just taking a bath. She happy. So you know your people, or you should, and you work on their strengths and their weaknesses to
That's right.
help them to do better. Because at the end of the day, the product we produce involves a patient. And that patient came to the hospital thinking that we knew what we were doing. They don't even know we exist, but they came in knowing the doctor had to do surgery.
That's right.
And they've seen Grey's Anatomy. They know there's some instruments. They don't know where they come from, but they think that we know what we're doing. And on the other hand, Sterile Processing is saying, we know what we're doing. Well, prove it. And the only way you can prove it is by production.
That's right. And to add to that, you mentioned and the concept that you were using is busyness doesn't mean work.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wanted to look up a definition. That's where I was kind of looking down
Okay.
um, at my phone because I want to help people understand. So I'm a words guy. I really like to break down words and really find the true meaning of a word before I identify with a word, saying, "Hey, that's me," or "I have good work ethic," or whatever. But even in the construct of the concept of like work and ethic, okay. And I've said
Mm-hmm.
this. I believe I maybe said this before on this episode, or I may have said it on um, Bread to Lead show. But the word um, work, okay,
Okay.
we have to really identify what that word means. The definition of work is the activity involving mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result. That's the definition of a work. It means the activity in involving mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result. Iggy, put that up there for me. Done to achieve a purpose or result. Work's definition is the activity involving mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result. And the reason why I'm breaking that word down is because a lot of people think that they're working and they're not. SGG. Because
Yes.
by definition, it states that I am exerting mental or physical effort done to achieve a purpose or result. So if I came to work to make sure that there were no delays, but there were 5 delays that day, we did not work
Right.
by definition. It's not me, it's the definition. If
Mm-hmm.
I came there to make sure I have to do 7 trays a day and I did 3, I was busy, but I did not work.
Mm-hmm.
If I came there, I was supposed to be the phone person, like you said. I'm supposed to work that phone, but I made every excuse not to work that phone. But that was what my purpose was for that day. That means that I did not work. And then ethic, the definition of ethic is a set of moral principles, especially ones relating to or affirming a special group, field, or form of conduct, relating to moral principles to do without being asked, to do as you've been told or as you said. So ethics says, work ethics says, I'm going to show up and deliver on what I said yes to, regardless of anything. And you know what's crazy, SGG, what I've noticed? When a hospital outsources their department to us and we can actually control it with staffing, system support, it takes a while to kind of shake out some of the dust feathers.
Mm-hmm.
But once you keep keeping a certain standard and not bending, and your system rewards those who produce efficiently, not those who talk excessively.
Mm-hmm.
What will happen is your system begins to recreate what your culture should be. And a lot of organizations, I'm speaking more of a leadership concept here, a lot of organizations try to motivate their people to death when you're operating on old systems. And that old system does not allow for people to even have anything to look forward to. So when we talk about caught up, if it always feels like at work, we say, hey, we got to do this, but there is no award we winning. There's no milestone. There's no celebration. There's no recognition. I know that there's a thing that's like, hey, you're here to do a job, but even athletes get to win a trophy.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have some wins.
You gotta have some wins. You have to justify it. And so when you're explaining, is when they're asked, like, it feels like everybody is just moving around. Like, what does caught up look like? Caught up looks like what caught up looks like is when the SPD and the OR actually have a real relationship and everything works collectively together. That's what caught up looks like. It doesn't feel like you're always out there. Caught up looks like your COO, your executive team doesn't always feel like they have to take random field trips to your department. Caught up looks like people actually want to stay and work with you and grow with you. That's what caught up looks like. Caught up looks like a culture where people hold each other accountable, not just simply because, hey, I'm telling on you, I'm doing more, but I hold you accountable because I don't want to let the others shift down when they're coming in. That's what caught up looks like. Right. Caught up looks like I want to create an environment where my coworkers around me know that I'm going to deliver regardless. Now, to your point, SGG, the leader has to know its people, their personalities, who they fit and gel best with. And there will be people in your organization that just work, or they're just everywhere not paying attention. However, if I truly want to build camaraderie within a culture and within a group, you have to ask yourself, what other ancillary incentives am I providing or am I lobbying upstairs for my team to be able to work together? See, people got to have a reason to set differences aside. And the reason that they set the differences aside to get something actually done has to mean something to everyone that's involved.
True.
So if it's a pizza party and I don't like pizza, me working hard for pizza
in doing nothing.
Ain't doing that. But if it's like, hey, we're all going to get recognized in the monthly newsletter if we continue, or the yearly newsletter, and as we continue to perform, and as a leader, I can petition that win. Mm-hmm. And then I create metrics like efficiency records, turnover times, touch times, quality metrics that we hit. Once we hit it, that's what caught up looks like. We're on point, we're on target, and there's recognition to kind of show for it. I wanted you to expound on that. So, SGG, because I know you did cool creative things too.
So the thing is this: first, you have to have a goal.
That's right.
And a goal in the Department of Surgical Services requires a team. And the team is not a team without you can't play football without the offense, defense. Offense can't go out there and just be by themselves all day long. They need the defense. And so a team, our goal is to take care of our surgical patients that we have scheduled for today. In order to meet the goal, the SPD and the OR, we got some other team members, but the SPD and the OR must work together to achieve that goal. And caught up does not necessarily mean all of the trays that were used today have been reprocessed, because I guess I'm dating, but 1983, 84, we didn't do that many surgical cases. And so by the time of the 11 to 7 shift, you could actually say all the trays from today will be processed by tomorrow morning. There will be nothing on the rack. But as hospitals have increased their services and the amount of cases they do, the doctors have gotten faster, turnovers have gotten faster. We can no longer come in and say, I expect to find no work to be done in sterile processing. There's always going to be work. Next, what I have to do now is I have to have a goal and priority setting to say what has to be done first. And I guess I use these analogies. Who's on first? Who's on second? What trays have to be done for us to get through our 7:30, 8:30 cases? That's our goal on days, evenings. We've got to get these trays done because night shift cannot necessarily be expected to do the testing they have to do and also get the trays ready that have been sitting here all day for your 7:30 case. So the OR, we have to communicate. These are the trays. This is why it's so important that you have systems, the different systems that are on the market today to help you to keep up with what cases are there, what has to be done, what trays you need, so that you have a blueprint game plan for what your goal is on each shift. Not did we clear the rack. That doesn't happen in many hospitals anymore. The rack is always full of something. Now, can we do better? Can we process more trays and not walk around and pick trays we don't like to do or whatever? Yes, but you have to come through. That's why you got supervisors and team leaders to say, Jake, you walk by that Cynthia's tray for the third time, pick it up and put it together. I know because I saw it at 1 o'clock. It is now 2 o'clock. The tray is still there, and I just saw you walk by it. That's yours. Eventually, Jake will learn, pick the tray up when you see it, because it's going to be on my table anyway. So just do it. People do that. So it requires that we motivate everybody to do the same amount of work. And what happens sometimes in an SPD, you all don't write me no letters, this is a generalization, is that we have some people, they only do eye trays. That's not a designated assignment. We have some people, they only wrap. That's not a designated assignment in my SPD. I can wrap. You get over here and put a tray together because there's nothing to wrap if you don't put the tray together. So you at the wrapping table with your arm folded, I'm wrapping, and I'm over here trying to put the trays together by myself. No, we all wrap. We all put trays in containers. We all run a sterilizer because our goal is to get the trays processed so that the operating room can continuously take care of the patients with the instruments. They can't work without instruments. We've said it. I've said it. Surgery starts in SPD. No instruments, Dr. Booty Boo, no surgery. Well, then I've got to produce the instruments. And the instruments have to be produced correctly. So I can't leave the indicator out. I can't forget the indicator. I can't forget to check the instrument for functionality. I can't forget to run the instrument on the right time. So that is unacceptable. And so we have to, in order to be caught up, come in and say it's 2, I think we used to do it at 2:45. It's 2:45. I'm getting ready to huddle with the 3 to 11 shift. And what I'm telling them is, these are the trays you all need to work on to get processed on your shift so that they are ready to be run or in the process of being run when the next shift comes, because the next shift has to take an hour at least or more out to run the test. So while the machines are testing, we can't run any instruments. But if you had done your part and gotten them put together and ready to go in, they'd already be in the machine. And so now we're not jumping and hopping, trying to meet a need that we can't meet at 5 a.m. in the morning. As a patient, when I show up at that hospital for my 7:30 case, they made me come at 4:30. I don't want to hear nothing about y'all say the instruments wasn't ready. I had an appointment. You all knew for 2 months I was coming on the 8th of December at 7:30. What do you mean y'all not ready?
Especially when patients, because some patients don't live in the same city or state that they're getting their surgery. You may find another hospital or another surgeon that you're more fond of that can do that specific thing. So you make all these travel arrangements and things so that you can be able to get that surgery. Only for you to get there and to hear, oh, we can't do it. We have to cancel it and reschedule you. That does hurt the patient, not just the hospital, but it hurts the patients, their money, their wallets, because the insurance doesn't cover them getting themselves to that hospital. They don't reimburse for travel.
It hurts the patient, Dr. Jake, mentally. I set myself up to have my surgery today. You know, and recently I heard from someone that they it's a friend of mine. She was going to have her back surgery. She said, Miss Golden, I got to the hospital. They put the IV in. Everything was ready. They gave me my Versed. They rolled me into the room. The next thing I knew, they woke me up and said they couldn't do the surgery. They didn't have the implants. Say what? They didn't have the implants, Miss Golden. I had to reschedule. And she was already frustrated and worried and mentally scared about having another back surgery. And it just isn't fair. No. But if we communicate like we're supposed to, and we've got all of these new, we've got technology, we've got reports coming off. AI tell you to put your shoe on your right foot and put the other one on the left. Why is it you didn't know you didn't have those implants? Where did we drop that ball that we didn't have implants for a case that was an implant case? You know, and so yes, and that's a team issue. So now we have to go to meetings, Dr. Jake. We call them sentinel events where we got to talk for 8 hours about why.
Yeah. And I think
already injured this patient mentally.
It takes a lot for somebody to get ready to have a surgery.
Right. They already didn't want the surgery.
That's right.
Now I'm trying to decide, can I live with this pain the rest of my life? Because I
don't know if I want to go through. Now I'm scared. Are you prepared for the surgery?
Right.
Can I trust you to do the surgery?
Right.
Now that all that fear is getting in place, it's going to take another 6 months.
Right. I don't want to come to this hospital.
That's right. I'm going to choose somewhere else because if y'all can't appreciate my 2-month scheduling for time, I don't trust myself being under the knife. Before you put me out, didn't you not know the implants were not ready?
Why didn't we know, right? I went for my surgery and I talked about this a little bit. This is the first time I had surgery where I was not managing the department, where I didn't know what the department does, if the instruments are clean, if they have a stand. I didn't know anything. I tried to learn as much as I could. And I did. And fortunately, some of the people that I left there when I worked 20 years ago, they still working. I don't know why, but they still working. And I was able to call up and say, hey, this isn't a HIPAA violation when I tell you I'm having surgery. I'm coming in for surgery. I'm having an ACDF. And I need y'all to be sure y'all saw my trays. Did they come in? You know, I need to know this on Sunday.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I returned from Hong Kong on Sunday. My surgery was on Monday.
Oh.
I came in on Sunday. I got back home at noon. When I got back to the house, I called the hospital up to the OR. Hello, it's Green Golden. I made it back. I'm having. You see me on the schedule for tomorrow? You know, yeah, you on the schedule. Okay. Do y'all have any instruments? Call me back.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I had that, but every patient doesn't have that. They're
That's
not
true.
able to do that. But I was concerned. And then I didn't even have my neck collar because my doctor's office had not done their due diligence. And so you can't go in for neck surgery unless you come with the collar laying on your chest. They won't do the surgery because they've got to stabilize your neck. So I was calling their emergency number saying I need to call first thing in the morning because somebody's going to have to come and get my collar if I'm going in early. Unfortunately, my case had been moved. So I went by the doctor's office and picked up my own collar on the way to the hospital. But these are things that just shouldn't happen. And the first thing I said when I saw him for my first post-op visit is, my surgery was scheduled in September. Why did it take to December to get the collar? Y'all should have collars on the shelf. When you schedule me, give me a collar and tell me to bring it with me. Put it in my hands. Let me be responsible instead of holding it to the last minute. I guess people lose their collars along the way. But there has to be a better way, because had I showed up without my collar, he wasn't going to do my surgery. And when I said to him, well, your office was trying to get the clearance and the insurance to pay, they took him from September, October, November to get all of that. No, it just can't take, it does, but you've got to have a better way. So for us in the hospital, Dr. J, we are responsible to the patient who they don't see us. And I know that in the question it said, we tell people in SPD they don't have any patients. Yes, you do. If there were 100 surgeries today, you had 100 patients, plus you had whatever went on in the ER, plus you had whatever went on in the cath lab, plus you had whatever went on in L&D. You have lots of patients. You just don't touch human beings. But you got patients. Stop saying I don't have patients. Yes, you do. And the patients you have rely on you to do your best job. And in order to do that, we have got to have functionality, guidance, and control over what's going on in the department, along with collaboration and communication between all parts of the team. The offense, the defense, the return kicker team, everybody got to be in here together. PACU, everyone has to come in and do their part to make this work. Hindsight is 2020. When we go back and figure out, well, it was because you didn't tell the patient to come at 4th, it's too late. When we find out that we did not check our schedule and see that the vendor had not brought the instruments, it's too late. The patient is here. The doctor is here. Everybody's here. And now we've got to go and disrupt this patient's life and make some decisions. Do you want to go later in the day? Because we can have the instruments ready for later. They got up at 4.
Yeah. Nervous.
We can do your surgery at 4 this afternoon.
Yep.
You know, so they have to make a decision. I'll come back at another time. I won't get it done, or I'm going to sit here and be frustrated and hurt till 4 because I'm in so much pain. I need to do this surgery. So SPD is not what people think it is. It's not where you just throw folks that don't know what they're doing. Throw people that just need a job. You have to have people, you use the keyword, who have some moral compass, who have ethics, and who are willing to learn and to do a job that requires comprehension, education, and technical understanding.
I love that. And actually, before we end the show, I'll let you end it, SGG, but I did want to say this. You don't have to do a solo, Iggy, for this. We'll let SGG finish with a solo. But I do want to say this. I was talking to a group of young men about career, things that they want to do with their career. And I told them that I believe that healthcare is a great industry for some of our brightest minds to want to get into. And they asked me, like, you want me to be a doctor or a nurse? I said, no, I think that you can get into the business of healthcare. I said, but I think that the best industry to start in, if you truly want to understand the operations of healthcare, is sterile processing. And I'm saying that to all of you that are out there that are listening. You go through sterile processing, you're learning every aspect of that surgical unit, that surgical operations services, that area, which makes up 60 to 78% of the hospital's revenue. You're learning how to communicate. You're learning how all the functions work, materials management. You're learning a little bit of PACU. You're learning a little bit of endo scheduling. You're learning cath lab. You're learning anesthesia, a little bit of anesthesia. You're learning how all of these things relate to each other. And I truly do believe that if more folks that are in sterile processing really saw this space as a trampoline to anything you can imagine in healthcare, we will see a huge switch overnight with ownership. But when you think that it's just sterile processing, this function here, yes, it is an intricate, extremely important. It's the engine of surgical services for sure. However, if you just for a second say, let me think outside of just this position and realize who all it's affecting in all the areas. And doing that, you will start to see sterile processing in a more noble light than you already see it. You'll start to see it for what it really is. And I truly believe that people can go from the basement to the boardroom. We just need more people that believe that. SGG, what you want to end it with?
So I want to end it with, when I was in high school a million years ago, we had vocational industrial clubs of America where we could pick out, everybody's not going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a politician. Some of us are going to do some other things. And I, at that time, chose to be a CNA. It allowed me to learn the basics of basic nursing care of a patient early on. If we would do that in high schools now and start putting the seed that you can still be a doctor. I have a couple of friends that I've met over the years, doctors who actually started in sterile processing. One is an orthopedic surgeon, one is a cardiologist. They started in SPD. So it's a stepping stone to better. It's a stepping stone to doing better. And within the field today, something that I never saw when I first started in SPD, we have more people who are becoming learned, I want to say, knowledgeable. We're not just, we're learning the basics from the ground up, but we're going back to college and getting our bachelor's and getting our master's. And you'd be amazed how many people in sterile processing today have their doctorates. So we're doing that. But all of that education does no good if you don't change the functionality and follow the standards and the rules while you're working in the department to take care of the patient. I just want to tell people it is a good place to work. It can be a good place to work. It can also be a toxic place if that's what you allow. It's your job as a team member to do your best, the part that you play. If I'm the kicker, I got to practice kicking. Not my job to practice receiving. My job is to practice kicking and to become the best kicker I can be. If I'm in sterile processing as a sterile processing tech 1, and that requires that I am actually cleaning instruments and doing basic sets, I have to do the best I can be until I move to a tech 2 or a tech 3. And as I go, I learn, and I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to read articles. I'm willing to study. I'm willing to go to conferences. I'm willing to watch SPD911 and earn CEs. As you learn, understand something. You always hear me say it. Knowledge is power. Once you learn it, they can't take it from you. It only helps you to become better. It's been a great first session. Thank you.
SPD911 isn't just a show. It's your emergency response team for sterile processing. Having a diverse organization, people make the mistake in trying to make everyone the same.
SPD911, we stand
Yeah, you're asking for a pay raise every year.
Heard the stories, seen the tears, raw and real, we face the fight, supporting each other. lights.
Okay, people. I'm back here by myself. I guess I can be gone.